There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, show recaps, predictions, sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What's going on, everybody? It's the EVP from the EVP Show, and I'm live. Sorry, I'm about 23 minutes late. This is your first SmackDown after WrestleMania recap show live April 24th, almost April 25th, 2026. Oh man, what a week. Sunday Scoops is going to be a long show Sunday. Just a couple of quick reminders. Obviously, yesterday I did miss the TNA recap show again. I was really under the weather. Felt like crap. So I do apologize for that. Still feeling kind of shitty, to be honest with you, but it's SmackDown, so I decided to try to gut it out. Obviously, I get to tomorrow off, so I can kind of rest up tomorrow, and it's going, Raymond. Good to see you, brother. And then Sunday is going to be a doubleheader live here on the EVP Show. Sunday, I will be doing Sunday Night Scoops at 6 p.m. Eastern, episode number 16, or 18, I'm sorry. And then later on that night, at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, will be the season premiere of LFG Season 1. Not Season 3, Episode 1, sorry. But yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on today. I'll kind of go over all the releases and stuff like that Sunday. Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. Yes, Josie Jane was on SmackDown tonight. I loved it. She looked. I was very surprised that they brought all three of them up. But they did. And I think they made the right decision because they come up as a faction. They were dominant in NXT. So I didn't really think Laney was ready. But, you know, so far so good. Definitely so far so good on that. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and post out that I am live. Not just midnight, but a lot of releases today. Obviously, I'll go over all that on Sunday Scoops. It's a lot to break down. So then Blake Monroe coming to SmackDown too, and Ricky. Yeah, NXT is getting gutted. I know that I will talk about that Sunday on Scoops. I know that CW was pushing really hard to keep one of the two. But ultimately, you know, TKO kind of put their foot down. I was like, it's good though, you know. Ricky Saints, I like that they're gonna separate him and Ethan Page. So obviously we saw Ethan Page saw Ruka, and Jacob Fatu was obviously moved over to Monday Night Raw this past week, which he will be main. He'll probably go back and forth a little bit, but with this feud that he's got going on with Roman Reigns leading up to Backlash. Cody Rhodes come out tonight. A lot of people speculated that he was going to just hand the title over. I didn't think that was going to happen. We didn't see Punk tonight. I do think that Punk ultimately ends up on SmackDown at some point. I don't think Cody's going to be ready for Backlash. I mean, the eye looked a little better today, but I don't know. I think they're probably going to hold him out for at least another PLE. Joe Henry, actually, yes, Joe Henry will be on Raw as well. So we have Joe Henry, Ethan Page, and Sol Ruka all making their main roster debuts Monday. And then tonight we had Fatal Influence, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Lainey Reed. Just phenomenal match in my opinion with JC. Her first main roster match against the cornerstone of women's wrestling in WWE. And also the SmackDown Women's Champion Rhea Ripley, and then obviously, Fatal Influence ran roughshod over, Charlotte and Alexa and Paige and Bree. So Fatal Influence already making a big impact on SmackDown. So them three, and then obviously next week we will see Blake Monroe and Ricky Saints. So it'd be 5 people coming up. I know there's a lot of speculation of others, but you gotta leave some people on NXT. So, but yeah, we'll be out tomorrow. 2 shows coming up Sunday, and then action-packed week next week. Obviously, same schedule this week. Do the Raw recap, the NXT recap. I will be back next Thursday for the TNA recap. SmackDown recap next Friday. Charlotte Flair goes one-on-one with JC Jane. Definitely looking forward to that. My 2 favorite women in WWE. And then next Sunday, I'll be back for episode 19 of Sunday Night Scoops at 6 p.m. And then episode 2 of LFG, which we saw with a couple, I believe it was at least 2 releases that I saw on the list. Obviously, Serena Linton, which she goes back to season 1 of LFG. She just hasn't really, I don't know, made it up to it. I haven't seen her on NXT. And then obviously Chris Island as well. I saw him on the list. He's obviously an LFG product as well. So a lot of people to go over Sunday. I have the full list. Well, I don't know if it's like the exact full list, but the ones that I do have, it's quite a few and a bunch of big names. A bunch of people are just in disbelief over. So, and myself included, Kairi Sane and Zelina Vega, and obviously, Aleister Black. It's crazy. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started though. It's a long show, so we're gonna go ahead and get going with your SmackDown recap live, April 24th, 2026. So SmackDown this is the first SmackDown after WrestleMania. Obviously, good show, all around good show tonight. It's live from the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. It's the first first SmackDown after WrestleMania 42. We're gonna see the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Paige make an appearance. Obviously, I guess when Nikki gets back, maybe she gives the title back to Nikki, and Paige goes in single action. I think that's probably what they're gonna do. We're gonna see the undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, make an appearance. Definitely a fiery promo from him. He mentioned the Golden Boy again. Cody is really embracing that. It's on his profile now. So I guess there's 2 Golden Boys. So, and also we had a title change tonight. WWE Women's United States Champion at the time, which hasn't been very good because it just hasn't been booked right. The Beautiful Madness Julie defending against Tiffany Stratton. We're going to see the new WWE SmackDown United States Champion celebration with Lil Yachty, obviously Trick Williams. And then the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley makes an appearance. Also from Raw this past Monday, which everybody saw, with the Jacob Roman leading up to the definitely going to be main event Backlash. I don't think Cody's wrestling at Backlash for sure. Small word, Jacob Fatu, and he actually kicked off the show. So definitely a lot of storytelling going on. The bloodline is very entrenched. Kind of looks like Jay's still got that kind of deep edge to him. Jimmy's trying to talk sense into him, but Jay's kind of like, you've already kind of messed up. Obviously, Solo and them's trying to get in Jacob's head, but it doesn't work out. So the show opens up with a video package recapping this past weekend's WWE WrestleMania 42, and obviously it was pointed out in a GC chat, which I didn't see until somebody said it. I think it was Miami that said it. Brock Lesnar has been moved to the forever part. I'm going to talk a lot about that on Scoops. A lot of the big name reporters are still kind of on the fence. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to say yes or no. I think it's probably a 50-50 percentage. Still think Gunther. I don't know. It's just going to be hard for me to fathom that Brock Lesnar doesn't retire in his home state of Minnesota at SummerSlam. But we'll see. I mean, he could really be retired, so we'll find out. In the coming weeks and months, Blake Monroe, yes, will be on SmackDown next week. I'll look for her to feud probably. So what they could do, I think, for Backlash, if they want to put Fatal Influence on the card, they could do JC Fallon and Lainey Reed against Rhea, Charlotte, and Alexa. Or I'm sure that's going to be a 6-woman tag come the same. You definitely can see Fallon and Lainey going after the tag team championship, and they definitely set the table for Sol Ruka and Liv Monday, and then they set the table for JC and Rhea tonight. So I definitely think we're gonna see a title defense from Rhea with JC on down the road. And I love the way they made the finish tonight. Obviously, they had Liv pin Sol, but they didn't do that to JC. The Fatal Influence interfered. There was not a clean winner, so both of them kind of looked strong. So Joe Tessor and Wade Barrett welcome us to the show as we see Danhausen drive up to the WWE United States Champion Trick Williams and his entourage. He's always up to something, Danhausen. So, kicking off the show, kicking off the first SmackDown from WrestleMania, Jacob Fatu's music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. Jacob Fatu grabs the mic and starts off by saying on Monday he told Roman Reigns he wanted him. Fatu then says Monday he told Roman he don't want that title, but he needs that title. Fatu then says Roman looked at him in the eye and said he was not ready. Jacob paused for a second and then says the truth is that Roman is right. Fatu then says he has never been ready is what he has heard his entire life. Fatu then says to break it all down, they say he is not ready. Fatu then says step into this ring, tells Roman to step into this ring with him and prove that he's not ready. So it's definitely happening in the Backlash. Roman Reigns defending that newly crowned WWE Raw Heavyweight Championship against Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu, but Jacob is interrupted from the Usos. Like I said, a lot of storytelling tonight when it comes to that. Jimmy and Jay make their way down to the ring. Jimmy says they heard what you said. Jimmy tells Jacob, I heard what you said on Monday. Jimmy says you can have all that and more. Jimmy then says, you want that title? Jimmy then says, QB1 was on the field and he fumbled. Talking about Cody obviously being injured, telling him to go after Cody's title. He then tells Fatu not to come at Roman. He's telling him to go after Cody. Jimmy then says, you'll eat, you'll learn, and you will level up. He then tells Fatu to run the play with him and join the family. Jimmy then says, none of these fools, talking about the fans, are going to give you the lifestyle. Jay then says, the problem is that it's too late for all of that. Like I said, Jay has more of an edge to him than Jimmy does at this point. Jay then says, you stepped up. Jay then says, you opened your mouth. Jay then says, you are in the deep end now. Jay then says, we're going to see if you can swim. Jay then says, you want respect from Roman? Walk right up to him, look him in the eye, and get ready for war. Jay then says, he will bring it to you. Rest assured. Yeet. It's a great promo there. Great opening segment. And obviously it wasn't done. So it's a colored music kit. So it's a color. Makes his way down to the ring. MFT. Sullivan asks if he is hearing this correctly. Sullivan says they are lying to him. Sullivan says, where were they 2 years ago when no one wanted you? Sullivan says, I brought you into WWE. Sullivan says, are you going to teach Batu how to eat? He then, talking to Jay, he then tells Batu not to listen to them. Sullivan says, you want to beat Roman? Sullivan says, you want to be champion? Sullivan says, he can do it for him. Sullivan says, you won't be able to beat Roman on your own. You will need an army. Sullivan says he has an army. And then Tama Tonga rips the microphone away from Solo. So adding more layers. There's just so many layers added into the story at one time going on. So yeah, a lot going on with the story. Obviously, Tama Tonga's about to split from them, or he's either about to take over the MFTs, and Solo's going to probably end up either going back to Roman. That's probably the direction I would think. Solo says, so Tama Tonga grabs the mic from Solo. Tama then asks, why are they wasting their time with this? Tama then says, Batu is a lost cause. Tama then says, you think he is going to beat Roman? Tama then says, he can't even beat you. Talking to Solo. Batu then delivers a super kick to Tama. Batu then says, the only one he should be talking to now is Roman Reigns. Batu then says, to keep it 100, you think I can't beat you? Batu then says, line it all up. Batu then says, me versus you tonight. Who will win Money in the Bank? It's a tough call. Sol Ruka, JC Jane, I feel like on the women's side, one of the two. I do feel like one of those two ladies. On the men's side, it's tough to say. I mean, it could be Ethan Page, it could be Ricky Saints. I know CM Punk has won an opportunity. I don't think he's going to get that title opportunity right now. I think that's a SummerSlam match or a WrestleMania match. They're not going to do it on some random ass SmackDown. There is 3 PLEs or 3 events in May. Obviously, we have Backlash, Saturday Night's Main Event, and the PLE in Italy. And then in June, we have Night of Champions. July, we have another Saturday Night's Main Event, SummerSlam's in August, and then I think Money in the Bank's in September. So I don't know. I think Punk probably gets a shot at Cody before Money in the Bank, but we'll see. If I had to guess right now, I'd probably say Sol Ruka, maybe. I don't know. JC's getting a lot of heel heat, and I knew she would. I talked about that a lot on NXT. The way she presents herself as a heel, I'm glad they kept her that way. And I wasn't too thrilled about them bringing Fallon and Laney up with her, but now that they have, I like it because they are demonstrating a lot of heel heat. So maybe JC wins Money in the Bank. I don't know. Maybe she's the one that ends up beating Rhea Ripley for that title at some point, or so. I don't know. We'll see. On the men's side, it's really tough to tell. I don't think it's going to be a Femi. It could be a Javon Evans, somebody like that. I don't think Oba's going to win a ladder match. I do think Oba's probably going to win King of the Ring, though, if they have that. So that's my picture right now. I don't really know. I would say Javon maybe on the men's side, and Sol Ruka or JC Jane, or maybe Blake. We'll see. I think Blake's going to be involved with Tiffany Stratton, though. So we're gonna get Jacob Patu and Solo Sikoa tonight in the main event. We then see Kathy Kelly in the back with the United States champion, women United States champion Julia and her manager Kiana James. Kathy asks Julia if she feels pressure. Julia then says, "This is not WrestleMania." Kiana then says they are both upset at the lack of respect. She then says her negotiation skills could not deal with that oversight. She then says they will take care of Tiffany Stratton tonight. Julia then says she has beaten Tiffany a couple of weeks back, and she will do it again tonight. Kiana then yells at Kathy for making things tense between her and her client, Julia. So we go for the first match of the night. Tiffany Stratton makes her way down to the ring. She will be going after the Women's United States Championship against Julia, who is accompanied by Kiana James. So the match starts off with both women locking up. Tiffany floats over a few times and does several back handsprings. She hits a clothesline for a count of 2. Julia then gets an inside cradle for a count of 2. Julia then hits a takedown and gets a crucifix for a count of 2. They then go back and forth with near falls. Julia then blocks the cartwheel Alabama slam into a neck breaker for a count of 2. Julia delivers several headbutts. Julia then kicks Tiffany in the head, and Tiffany gets Julia up and hits a Finley slam, Alabama slam. But Julia ends up knocking Tiffany's feet out from under her on the top rope, and she lands splits first onto the top rope. Before she was obviously going up her prettiest moonsault ever. Julia then delivers a drop kick to Tiffany in a tree of woe. Julia delivers a hanging neck breaker to Tiffany. Julia then hits several knees and sends Tiffany back into the ring. Julia then hits a boot to the back and she chokes Tiffany in the ropes. Julia then hits a chop and she sends Tiffany face first into the mat. Julia then sets up for a curb stomp and she hits it. Julia goes for a pinfall but gets only 2. Julia begins to get Tiffany in the ropes, so she hits a drop kick to the back for another count of 2. Sorry, I still got your comment up, Peter. Make sure if you guys are watching live here on the EVP show on YouTube channel, if you guys don't mind, hit that like button. It definitely helps me out. So if you guys are watching live on YouTube, just please do me a favor and hit that like button on the stream. So then Tiffany fires back with a forearm and an Irish whip, but she misses a splash. Julia then hits a kick to the back. She gets a count of 2. Julia cinches in a rear chin lock. Both women then take the other down to the mat by the hair. Tiffany then hits several forearms and a clothesline for a count of 2. Tiffany hits a handspring back elbow into the corner and hits a handspring cutter for a count of 2. Tiffany then goes up top and Julia punches Tiffany to stop her. Julia then sets up for a butterfly suplex and she hits it, but only gets 2. Julia hits a headbutt and Tiffany escapes a slam. Kiana James then tries to trip Tiffany and Tiffany grabs Kiana. Julia then accidentally hits Kiana James when Tiffany moves. So I think they're setting up a split with Kiana James and Julia. Tiffany then gets a roll up for count of 2, and then Tiffany does finally hits the Alabama slam, and she goes up to the top rope, and she hits the prettiest moonsault ever for the 1, 2, 3, and we have a new Women's United States champion. So the second big title that Tiffany Stratton, she held the Women's Smackdown championship for over 200 plus days. And now she is your new Women's United States champion. So congratulations to Tiffany. Tiffy time is back. So then we take a look at what happened with The Miz and Danhausen at WrestleMania. We then see Danhausen appear at The Miz's house in Las Vegas. He's obviously in the house. Obviously, he has an interaction with Maurice, Miz's wife. You can see Allegiant Stadium. You can see people playing golf. Danhausen's obviously sitting in the pool. So I love what they're doing with Danhausen. See, Danhausen appeared at The Miz's house earlier this week. The Miz says he wants to know what he's doing there. Danhausen says he is cursing the house. Danhausen then shows up in The Miz's pool. The Miz then jumps towards him, but Danhausen moves out of the way, and The Miz falls face first into the pool. So double curse for Miz. So we then see Kathy Kelly with Tiffany Stratton on the stage, and she congratulates her on her win. Tiffany says it's so amazing to be champion again here in WWE. Tiffany says she had a run of being the runner-up, but no longer. Obviously, she talked about finishing second in the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble to Liv Morgan. Tiffany says she is now the Women's United States Champion. Tiffany says she will show the WWE Universe why WWE runs on Tiffy Tom. So congratulations, Tiffany Stratton, on the Women's United States Championship. So we get Brie mode. Brie Bella makes her way down to the ring along with the newest member who just signed a multi-year deal with WWE and one half of the Women's Tag Team Champion, Paige. Brie starts off by saying it feels incredible to be in the ring as champion. Brie then said WrestleMania was special. Brie then said even though she could not compete next to her twin sister Nikki, she hopes Nikki comes back soon. Word is Nikki did have surgery on that ankle in Birmingham, Alabama, so I would expect Nikki out for a little while. I mean, I don't know the logistics, but I had ankle surgery and it does take a while. Brie then says she was happy to call a friend that she calls a sister, and Brie welcomes back Paige, and they absolutely go crazy for Paige. Paige says she is back, and she asks if they missed her. Paige then says she lost her voice, but it was one hell of a week. Paige then says when Brie called her to have her back, what a wonderful way to come back home to the WWE. Paige then says she is so proud to be back with Brie. Paige then says now they are the tag team champions. Paige then says it was a rough road to get here, but she is proud to be back home. Paige then says they were in the ring with some of the best competitors, but SmackDown is her house. Paige then says they aren't going anywhere. Then out comes Charlotte Flair. Her music hits, and she makes her way down to the ring with Alexa Bliss. Charlotte Flair says it's good to see Paige back. Alexa then says it is good even though Paige pinned her to win those tag titles at WrestleMania. Charlotte Flair then says they have what she and Alexa want. Alexa then says they are not going to let a WrestleMania moment get in the way. Charlotte Flair then says if you want to prove this is your house, there is no better way than to face her and Alexa. Paige then says she is down if Brie is down. Brie then says she is down and they will do it tonight. Paige then asks for a referee right now. So an impromptu WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Brie Bella and Paige taking on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. So the match starts off with Brie hitting a high knee to Alexa, and she follows it up with a neck breaker. Brie then hits a sunset flip, but Alexa rolls through and she hits a drop kick. Charlotte Flair gets a hot tag in. She chops Brie. Paige is then drawn into the ring, obviously, by Charlotte Flair, not tagged. But Flair and Alexa do not take advantage. Flair then hits a follow-away slam, and Brie delivers a kick to Charlotte. Brie then hits a back elbow, and Charlotte hits a kick in the corner. Charlotte Flair then misses a knee drop to the leg in the ropes. Charlotte Flair then keeps Brie from making the tag, but Brie hits an enziguri. Then out comes the newest members of the SmackDown roster. Queen, my favorite women's wrestler right now, Jacy Jayne. She pulls Paige off the apron and into the ring steps. The referee then calls for the bell. Fatal Influence. Jacy Jayne, Laney Reed, and Fallon Henley just ruined the tag match. The winners are still WWE Women's Tag Team Champions due to disqualification. The Bellas, Brie Bella, and Paige. After the match, Fallon Henley and Laney Reed joined in on the attack. Jacy kicks Paige to the floor. Laney and Fallon hits a double. I don't know what that was. To Alexa Bliss. So Fatal Influence make their first mark on the night by taking out Paige and Brie Bella, the tag champions, and also Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, which will lead to next week. One-on-one Charlotte Flair, my favorite, Jacy Jayne, my other favorite, one-on-one next week on SmackDown. So looking forward to that. So then we get a promo from Royce Keys, and he says he doesn't want to let people down while we hear comments from East Palo Alto talking about how important it is for him to succeed in WWE. Royce says sometimes it feels like nobody is watching, but everybody really is watching. Royce says now it's his time to give back. Royce says he has people depending on him and he isn't slowing down. So good vignette from Royce Keys. Obviously, he was the winner of the 2026 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And it looks like Solo Sikoa is trying to get him to come to the NFT, but I don't think that's going to work. So then we get this music right here. So we get the WWE Smackdown Undisputed Champion of the World after a successful title defense at WrestleMania by defeating the Viper Randy Orton. American Nightmare Cody Rhodes music hits. He makes his way down to the ring. The left eye looks pretty bad. It looks a little better than it did Monday, but it still looked pretty shitty. Cody Rhodes grabs a microphone and starts off by asking the people in Fort Worth what they want to talk about. Cody then says he wants to talk about how he left WrestleMania 42 and he does not mean as champion. Cody then says, buddy, but he still made the decision of making the long walk up the ramp. Cody then says he made that decision because he feels it is the job as WWE champion. Cody then says the only superpower he might have is he always gets back up. Cody then says the moment you see him take that side ramp, that means this run is over. And this run actually started 4 years ago, right around the corner from here. Cody then says ever since then, on paper and in his heart, he wanted to send a message at WrestleMania. Cody then says even if he knew he would not be medically cleared after that, Cody then says he wanted to send a message to his opponent, Randy Orton. Cody then says Orton is not even here tonight. Like I said, I do believe Randy Orton suffering from some hip injury as well. Cody then says Randy Orton, who started him out in this sport, who taught him everything, and it was everything he taught him that beat him. Cody then says Randy Orton gave him his best shot, a punt to the head, but he is still standing. Cody then says he wants to send a message. He wanted to send a message to a sarcastic and condescending Sami Zayn. So throwing out there a potential Cody-Sami Zayn match. The backstage called Cody Rhodes the Golden Boy. Alright, Cody. Cody then says he showed up at WrestleMania adorned head to toe in gold. So he pretty much confirmed that he dressed up like he said he was going to do in an interview in Golden Boy gear. Adorned head to toe in gold, his family in gold, everyone in gold, and they will all be gold. The Golden Boy. Cody then says, and the most important message that he wanted to send is to those outside forces that kept interjecting into his WrestleMania plans that want to get involved in this Nightmare Family party. Cody then says, to all of you outside forces, they are 0 and 3. Send your best, count your money, and mind your damn business. Cody then says, this is the first SmackDown after WrestleMania. Cody then says, as the man holding the richest prize in the sport, he is not the hunter. He realizes that. Cody then says, it is easy to find him if you are from NXT, Raw, or SmackDown. Cody then says he is easy to find but hard to beat. Cody then drops the microphone and his music hits, and he does do a small little whoa. So good promo there from Cody Rhodes. Obviously, he's not relinquishing the title, so people can just put their prize in the bag on that. We then take a look back at what happened during the tag team title match. We then head to the back where Solo Sikoa is with the MFTs, but without Tala Tonga. Don't know where he's at. Is he getting released? We don't know. So Solo says he wants JC Mateo and Tama Tonga to get the tag team titles, bring it to the family. Solo then tells them not to let the family down. Tonga Loa and ask him about Jacob. Solo tells him not to worry about Jacob. Solo then says he will teach him a lesson that without them, Jacob Fatu cannot beat Roman Reigns. So like I said, a lot of storytelling going there. So your WWE SmackDown Men's Tag Team Champions, Damian Priest and R-Truth, make their way out to the ring for the next match of the night. This is for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Damian Priest and R-Truth will defend against the MFT, Tama Tonga, and JC Mateo. The match starts off with R-Truth and Tama hits several punches. Truth then delivers several kicks as well. Tama then hits an elbow to the top of the head. R-Truth then hits a flying shoulder tackle, and Tama hits a drop kick. Tama then misses a leaping elbow drop. Priest tags in. Priest then hits several punches to Tama. Tama hits an Irish whip. Priest then hits a jumping forearm to Tama and a kick to JC. Priest then hits a flying elbow into the corner. Priest then signaling for a rebound clothesline, but JC distracted Priest. JC then hits Priest, and Tama hits a forearm. Tama then hits a clothesline on the floor, and Tonga Loa hits a clothesline. Priest then hits a clothesline onto JC Mateo. R-Truth is tagged in, and Truth hits a shoulder tackle. He then lifts JC and slams him. Truth then sets up for the John Cena move, the 5-knuckle shovel, and then goes for the AA. Tonga gets on the ring apron, and that distracts Truth and the referee. Tama then gets in the ring, and he hits R-Truth with a swinging neckbreaker. JC then hits a German suplex onto R-Truth. He then goes for a cover, but Damian Priest barely breaks it up right before 3. Tama then sends Priest to the outside of the ring. Tama then hits an uppercut onto R-Truth. JC then slams Truth in the corner, and Tama goes for a splash, but R-Truth moves out of the way. Damian Priest is then tagged in. Priest and Truth then hit the rise of Flapjack for the 1, 2, 3. So Damian Priest and R-Truth retain the WWE Men's SmackDown Tag Team Championship over the MFTs. Who is next for Damian Priest and R-Truth? So then we take a look at more of Danhausen at the Miz's house. Danhausen hits the Miz in the groin with the golf club and takes a slammy. And then Maurice walks up and she sees Danhausen and starts freaking out as he leaves the house. And the Miz throws chocolate at Danhausen, but misses and hits Maurice in the face. Danhausen then gets on a kid's bike and drives away. So they're really setting up this whole angle with Maurice, The Miz, and Danhausen. So we head to the back where we see Little Yachty and the new WWE United States Champion Trick Williams. They shake hands. Little Yachty knocks on the door. Out steps the Gingerbread Man. So Trick Williams music hits. He makes his way down to the ring. Big huge pop from the crowd with Little Yachty and the Gingerbread Man. There's a small table with champagne on ice and balloons. Trick says he thinks the people are excited to celebrate with the new United States champion. Trick then says they were just at WrestleMania last week. 50,000 fans. Little Yachty was there, he was there, and the Gingerbread Man was there. He then tells the fans to say what he did on Sunday, and they chant, "Whoop that trick." Little Yachty then says there was the Celebrity Road to WrestleMania tour, and he is still there. Little Yachty then says if Trick is the anointed one, he is the prophecy. Little Yachty then says if Trick is Michael Jackson, he is Quincy Jones. Little Yachty then says if Trick is Mike Tyson, he is Don King. Little Yachty then says if Trick is Michael Jordan, he is Phil Jackson. Lil Yachty then says there is no more United States Open Challenge. That is over. Trick then says if you want an invitation, you find a wedding. And if you want the United States champion, you look for the United States champion who looks like chocolate milk wearing, the lemon pepper steppers, Trick Williams. Trick's music goes off and the pyro goes off as well. Super great promo by Trick. Super over. Sky's the limit for Trick Williams. Super glad he's champion. And I love what Lil Yachty is doing. He's not overstaying his welcome. So the Ginger Man then grabs his candy cane stick and he hits Trick Williams from behind with it. Lil Yachty then turns around and he hits Lil Yachty with the candy cane stick as well. The Gingerbread Man then takes the mask off. And there goes my phone. As always. Sorry about that, guys. Sami Zayn was dressed up in the Gingerbread Man suit, by the way, and he hit Lil Yachty and Trick Williams in the back with the candy cane stick. All right. So the Gingerbread Man then takes the mask off, and it is none other than the former United States champion Sami Zayn. The fans then boo, and he hits Trick Williams with the Haluva kick. So it looks like they're going to probably run it back with Sami and Trick. We then see Cathy Kelly ask Royce Keys about winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal last week. Royce says the last few weeks have been emotional. Royce says he debuted and he followed up by winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Royce says he is just getting started and he takes what he wants. And then, like I said before, Solo Sikoa then shows up trying to recruit Royce, congratulates him on winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So then says the big man is not happy, but he got the night off. He told him that the door is always open for Royce Keys to join them. So we then see a tape for The Miz and Danhausen. Danhausen then makes his way out to the ring for the next match of the night, and The Miz follows. So we're getting The Miz one-on-one versus Danhausen. Match on top with Kit Wilson grabbing the Slammy Award, and Danhausen hits a crossbody and head scissor takedown. The Miz then goes to the floor. Kit then gets on the apron to distract Danhausen, and The Miz hits Danhausen from behind. Miz then hits several kicks. While the Miz celebrates with Kit, Danhausen sits up and he curses the Miz and Kit. Pyro then goes off and Danhausen gets the roll up for the 1, 2, 3. So Danhausen is undefeated 2-0 in the ring. Gets a win. Another Winhausen for Danhausen. After the match, Danhausen tries to use the smoke to leave, but it doesn't work. The Miz then chases Danhausen, but Danhausen avoids the Miz, and the Miz ends up bumping into Kit Wilson. Danhausen drives away. So then after that, we get a video package of the Glamour herself, who just lost a casket match Tuesday to Tatum Paxley. This is showing her in the bathtub, just a little vignette. Blake Monroe's phenomenal. She was obviously great in AEW. So I don't know. I think she was just down in NXT for star power. But we get a good video package of Blake Monroe. And at the end, it says coming to SmackDown soon, which she will be on SmackDown next week. Really looking forward to some of the dream matches with Blake Monroe, Rhea Ripley, Blake Monroe, Charlotte Flair, Blake Monroe Page, Blake Monroe, I don't know, Tiffany Stratton, Blake Monroe, Rhea Ripley. It's a lot. So yeah, good stuff going on both programs now. SmackDown was great, really good tonight. So then we get the music of the new WWE Women's Women's World Heavyweight Champion, the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley. Her music hits. She makes her way down to the ring. Rhea starts off by saying, "Your mommy is finally champion again." Rhea then says, "At WrestleMania, Dre proved to her that she could go." Rhea then says, "Now it's her time to prove that WWE Women's Champion is a fighting champion." Rhea then says she knows that there are plenty in the back who want their chance. Rhea then says if somebody wants to step to her, now is their shot. And out comes Fatal Influence. And the lead is Jacy Jayne. Jacy Jayne makes her way down to the ring with Fallon Henley and Laney Reed. Jacy then says they get it. They have massive, I'm talking about massive heel heat. Fans are booing the hell out of them, and that's what you want as heels. Jacy then says you're the star and the champion. Jacy then says she will be the first one to give Rhea credit that she had a big win at WrestleMania. Jacy then says these people want to know who to give credit to. Jacy then says, give her, Fallon, and Laney credit for taking out your little legend tonight. Talking about Paige, Brie Bella, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. Rhea then says she saw what they did earlier. Rhea then says, taking out that many legends is quite impressive, but stop while you're ahead. Crowd is letting Fatal Influence know how they feel. Fallon then says thanks, but no thanks. She then says what they did is nothing compared to what they're going to do to you. Laney Reed then says you can put the blame on them too. Rhea laughs and she says she thought Jade was cocky. She then says she has been used to the numbers game against her and that really doesn't matter. Rhea then says if you want to fight, she is ready for a fight. Rhea then says take your shot. Jacy then tells Rhea that she will learn is that they are always ready to throw hands. And then out comes the SmackDown General Manager, Nick Aldis. Watch SmackDown, but not as so good. How long will this Tribal Chief continue? It's going to be a while. He's going to be champion for a while. Love to see R-Truth win the WWE Championship. Honestly, Peter, I don't ever think that's going to happen. So Nick Aldis then makes his way out, and he says he loved the idea. Nick then says he was thinking of a punishment for what they did earlier, and it is in the ring. Nick then says you are going to face Rhea Ripley one-on-one in a non-title match. So one of the dream matches that everybody's been waiting for. Jacy Jayne goes one-on-one with Rhea Ripley. So, good match. The match starts off with both women locking up, and Rhea sends JC face first into the mat. Rhea then waves to JC Jane. JC then wants a Greco-Roman knuckle lock, but she toys with Rhea. Rhea then blocks a kick, and JC escapes a slam attempt and applies a side headlock. Rhea then avoids a clothesline, and she hits a shoulder tackle. JC is sent in a waistlock, and Rhea blocks the roll-up. JC delivers a punch, but Rhea blocks an Irish whip. JC delivers a head scissors takedown. Rhea then catches JC in the corner, but JC counters a half into a snap mare. Rhea punches JC off the apron and goes for a drop kick through the ropes, but JC Jane moves out of the way. Rhea then avoids a kick from the apron. Rhea hits a face plant from an electric chair position onto the apron. JC then uses the distraction from the other two members of Fatal Influence, Laney and Fallon, to kick Rhea Ripley. JC then delivers a massive forearm and goes for the pin, but only gets a count of 2. JC then chokes Rhea in the ropes. JC then sends Rhea into the turnbuckles, and she kicks and chokes Rhea. JC then hits a cannonball for a count of 2. JC then misses a chop, and Rhea delivers several forearms. JC fires back with a punch and goes for a pinfall, but gets 2. JC hits several elbows to the clavicle, sends it in a reverse chin lock. Rhea then gets up to her feet, and she gets JC on her back and sends her into the turnbuckles. JC then hits a shoulder tackle for a count of 2. Rhea then delivers a kick and several short arm clotheslines. Rhea then hits a back heel kick. Rhea then sends JC face first into the mat and follows it up with a drop kick. Rhea then sets up for a razor's edge, but JC gets to the ropes and she hits a thrust kick. JC then misses a charge into the corner where Rhea floats over, but then JC then hits a big, huge running flying knee, but Rhea Ripley kicks out at 2 3/4. JC then misses the rolling encore, but Rhea hits a back heel kick. Rhea then goes up top, and JC falls into the ropes to stop Rhea. JC then goes to the turnbuckles. Rhea delivers several punches, and she goes under to hit a super kick against the turnbuckle. Rhea then gets JC on her shoulders, and JC gets a roll-up for a count of 2. Rhea then hits a back heel kick, and she hits a razor's edge and follows it up with a flying boot. JC Jane kicks out at 2. JC then kicks Rhea away when Rhea goes for the prism lock. She's going for the riptide. She attempts to go for the riptide, but when she does, Fallon Henley comes through the ropes and into the ring, and she clips Rhea Ripley from behind, where Rhea goes for the riptide, and the referee calls for the bell. Fatal Influence take out Rhea Ripley and have made quite the statement tonight on the first SmackDown after WrestleMania. For me, besides the Jacob Fatu and Bloodline stuff, the Fatal Influence was the biggest part of SmackDown tonight. The winner of the non-title match due to disqualification is Rhea Ripley. After the match, Fallon, Laney, and JC attack Rhea, and then JC Jane hits the rolling encore on Rhea Ripley. So we're definitely going to see that again. Amazing match. Great debut for Fatal Influence and JC Jane. We then take a look at what happened at the end of Raw between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. We then see Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso come up to Jacob Fatu, and they say that the MFT will get involved, but they have Jacob's back. Jacob then says he doesn't need any help, and he walks away. So then in the back, you see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss in the trainer's room. Rhea Ripley then shows up, and she asks Charlotte Flair if they have a problem. Alexa Bliss then says they do, and it's Fatal Influence. Like I said, Fatal Influence has made quite the impact. Charlotte Flair then says next week she will get her hands on JC Jane, unlike what Rhea Ripley did. So next week on SmackDown, Ricky Saints will make his debut, Blake Monroe will make her debut, and Charlotte Flair goes one-on-one with JC Jane. Flair then tells Rhea that it's not Rhea, and Flair is just like that. Fatal Influence has the attention of some serious legends. So then we get a good video package, just like kind of what they did for Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw, obviously with the retired stuff. So I'll talk more about that on Scoop Sunday. We then get a video package from the Absolute Ricky Saints, who will be making his main roster debut next Friday on SmackDown, along with Blake Monroe. And he also is good friend with Cody Rhodes. Welcome to the Revolution. So Ricky Saints will debut next week on SmackDown. So we go to the main event of the evening. So it's Sikoa that makes his way down to the ring for the main event of the night with the MFTs going up against the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. The match on top with Solo hitting a shoulder tackle, but Fatu stays on his feet. Jacob Fatu then hits a right hand. He gets Solo in the corner. Jacob then climbs the second rope. And he begins to headbutt Solo. Solo slams Jacob face first onto the top turnbuckle. Solo then climbs the second turnbuckle and he hits Fatu with several right hands. Solo then goes to the rope, but Jacob Fatu hits a shoulder tackle. Fatu then goes to the ropes, but JC Mateo grabs Fatu by the leg, with the referee distracted. Solo then sends Fatu to the outside of the ring. Tama Tonga then hits a right hand onto Jacob Fatu. JC Mateo then sends Fatu back into the ring, and the Usos make their way out. So they're standing in the aisleway. Fatu then gets angry at them, and Solo hits a clothesline. Solo then goes for the cover, but Jacob kicks out. Solo then sends Jacob into the ring steps. Jacob Fatu then blocks a shot into the steps, and Jacob Fatu sends Solo into the steps himself. Fatu then misses a hip into the corner, and Tonga Loa punches Jacob Fatu in the ropes. Solo then hits a punch to Jacob, and hits a running hip, and he chokes Jacob in the ropes. JC Mateo then lands a punch to Jacob, and Solo hits another running hip into the corner. Jacob Fatu fires back with several punches to Solo, but Solo catches Jacob Fatu on a handspring move, and Solo hits a German suplex for a count of 2. Solo then hits a headbutt, and Jacob headbutts him back. Can't headbutt Samoans. They then go back and forth with punches. Solo then hits a boot, and Fatu hits a kick of his own. Jacob then lands several punches. Jacob Fatu then hits a kick and a clothesline. Fatu then hits a back senton. Jacob Fatu then hits a splash into the corner, and he headbutts Solo from the turnbuckles. Jacob Fatu then hits a running hip, and he starts to dance. Tama Tonga then distracts Jacob Fatu, and Solo sets up a Samoan spike but misses. Jacob Fatu then hits a super kick, and he goes up top. When he goes to the top rope, Tonga Loa then distracts the referee. JC Mateo knocks Jacob Fatu off the turnbuckles. Solo then gets a roll up for only a count of 2. Jacob Fatu then hits a punch and a suicide dive onto Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and JC Mateo. No Hikuleo, so either he's hurt or he got released. We'll find out in the coming days. Solo then hits a thrust kick and a Uranagi. Solo then goes up top for a fog splash, and he hits it for a count of 2. Solo then sets up for the Samoan spike, and Jacob Fatu moves and hits a super kick and a pop-up Samoan drop. Fatu then goes for the double jump moonsault, and he hits it. He goes up top and he goes up top for his finisher, which is the pop-up double jump moonsault off the top, and he absolutely lands it for the 1, 2, 3. Jacob Fatu has pinned Solo Sikoa. After the match, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and JC Mateo attack Fatu. Tonga Loa then gets a chair, and Jimmy and Jay make their way down to the ring, and they're standing on the outside of the ropes. Fatu then kicks away the chair from Tonga Loa, and he hits JC and kicks Tama Tonga. Fatu then hits Tonga Loa, and JC with the chair. He then puts a chair around JC's head and to Tama. Fatu then hits running hip attack to both men. Jacob Fatu then hits a suicide dive to Tongaloa. He starts to rearrange the announce desk, starts throwing stuff off the announce desk. Tongaloa is then put on the announce desk and falls off. Jacob Fatu then headbutts Tongaloa back onto the announce desk. Fatu then hits a splash through the announce desk. Fatu begins, then returns to the ring, starts dancing. Fatu landed a big, huge splash through the announce desk on Tongaloa. Fatu returns to the ring to dance. Fatu then gives Jimmy and Jay a stare down as the show comes to a close. So, really good show, guys. SmackDown, it's been kind of lacking, but I believe the call-ups, like I said, from Monday Night Raw, we got Jacob. Just as how I feel like it's going to play out, Jacob's obviously going to move to Raw. And then we got Soruka, debuted Monday. We also got Joe Henry will be on Raw as well. And we got Ethan Page, who qualified as the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship by beating Javon Evans. And then on SmackDown, we had Fatal Influence, JC Jane, Laney Reed, and Fallon Henley. And then next week, we will get Ricky Saints and Blake Monroe. And like I said, besides the Bloodline stuff, Fatal Influence for me was they were phenomenal. The fans were just booing the hell out of them. They got a lot of heel heat. The JC was great in the ring with Rhea. Can't wait. Definitely going to see that again. Can't wait to see next week on SmackDown. We're going to have the debut of Ricky Saints. Also Blake Monroe, and then JC Jane will go one-on-one with Charlotte Flair. So a lot of these dream matches we've been waiting on from all these top-notch NXT stars, we will see over the next weeks, months, and years. So, at first I was a little reluctant. I didn't think Laney Reed was ready, but it was ultimately the right move to call all three of them up. So super happy for Fallon and Laney as well as JC Jane to be called up to the main roster and to be on SmackDown and all stick together instead of them turning on her. I think they can do a lot more damage on the show. Fallon and Laney can go after those tag titles, and JC can go for either the U.S. title or the Women's Championship from Rhea Ripley. So that's it, guys, for the first SmackDown after WrestleMania. So I want to give a shout out to Raymond and to Peter. And like I said, make sure if you guys are watching live, we are streaming live on my YouTube, my X, and Talk It Up Podcast X as well. Make sure you give Talk It Up Podcast a follow on X and on YouTube as well. Shout out to Miami the Great, Boss Baby, Director Red, Warwick Greg, and After Slam Podcast, who was live earlier, I believe, at 1 p.m. And then everybody that's affiliated with Gimmick Table Media. I haven't seen much. I haven't really been. I've been so busy this last week, and I was super sick yesterday. I haven't really got a chance to watch a lot of people's shows, but hopefully I'll start to feel better tomorrow after resting and stuff, and I'll be ready to go for Sunday and for next week. So once again, if you guys are watching live on YouTube, and if you do go back and watch the stream, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you are subscribed to me, it looks like I gained another subscriber, so I'm at 219. My ultimate goal is for 300 subscribers by SummerSlam, which is in August. So we got a little bit over 3 months to get 80 subscribers. It's going to be difficult, but we can do it. I think I'll probably put a post out either Sunday or Monday, because not next week, but the next week will be Backlash. So we'll be doing a Backlash prediction show, and then obviously a Backlash recap. Not this coming up week, but the next. So I will be putting out. Caleb has already messaged me about being on the Backlash Prediction Show, but I will put a post out. I may put it out tomorrow while I'm not working or while I'm not streaming, and to see where we're at. But there will be it will be on the Wednesday before Backlash. So yeah, a lot going on. So May is going to be a really busy month. But thank you for everybody that tuned in to the first SmackDown live after WrestleMania here on the EVP show. I haven't streamed since Tuesday, so I had 2 days off. So I'm feeling really energized and ready to go for the rest of the month of April and into May. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the outro, and I'll be back to tell you guys where you can find me on my socials, what I have coming up for the rest of this weekend and next week.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Prediction Sports. Let go, show recaps prediction sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Prediction Sports. Let go.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Friday night SmackDown recap, the first one after WrestleMania. Shout out to the almost 150 people that's watching live. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, if you do go back and watch us live on YouTube, please make sure if you can to hit that like button. And if you are subscribed to me, hit that notification bell and you will be reminded when I go live. So everything is scrolling across the bottom of the screen in the blue. All my links are in my bio. If you are following me on any of my socials, all my links are pinned on every single one of my socials, whether it's Facebook, X, Instagram, or TikTok. Obviously, I'm not giving out my Facebook information. If you're friends with me, you're friends with me. If you're not, you're not. But if you're looking for me on X, if you're not following me on X, you can find me on X at EVPCJP. And if you're already following me, if you just go all the way up to the top of my page, it's pinned, my YouTube channel. If you got any friends or family that enjoy, if you enjoy my content, if you got any friends or family today, if you think they might enjoy the content, please just share the link with them. That helps me out. Obviously, some people have been sharing because I am up to 219 subscribers. That last time I checked was earlier today. So appreciate you guys for that. But yeah, follow me on X at EVPCJP. My Instagram account now is a business account, so you can see my link. So you go to my Instagram page. It's slowly but surely building up. I'm trying to work on that, building that up, and TikTok with the followers and stuff like that. But you can find me on TikTok at EVPCJP, and on Instagram, sorry, at EVPCJP. On TikTok, you can find me at Brady the Goat 21. That's at BRADYDA Goat 21. At Brady the Goat 21. Last but not least, like I said, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit that like and subscribe button, share with your friends. Try to help me get to 300 subscribers by SummerSlam, which is late August, so we have plenty of time. But if you're not subscribed and if you're looking for it in the search bar, you just type in at the EVP show. There's over 900 videos that stream live to the EVP show. A lot of shorts. I think it's a pre-recorded video. I'm going to start trying to get more shorts and stuff out there as well. Shout out to Cummins 88 Smoking. I do not. I talk about I'm about to go through all my shows with you, but no, I do not just talk. SmackDown is definitely not the only show that I talk about. But shout out to Cummins 88 Smoking. Good to see you. I think you must be one of my new subscribers, so good to see you here. And I'm about to go over my schedule, so that way you can get a kind of idea of what I do here. Like I said, I will be putting out a post tomorrow, Sunday or Monday, about the Backlash prediction show, which will be the week of Backlash. It will be a Wednesday night, just as always, at 7 p.m. Eastern. the week of Backlash. And there will be a Backlash recap show when Backlash goes off, which is 2 Saturdays from now, I believe. So, as far as what I have coming up next, tomorrow I am off, but Sunday is the start of Doubleheader Sunday here on the EVP show. We did not have Sunday night scoops last Sunday because it was WrestleMania night 2. I didn't want to. I was watching the show, so I couldn't do it. So tune in at 6 p.m. Eastern Sunday for Sunday night scoops with the EVP. I fully expect the show to be over 2 hours. I have a shit ton of news to go over, everything that's went on in the last week and a half. All these roster cuts has happened in the last 24 hours. NXT news. Yeah, a lot of news to cover. And then I will leave the Q&A open for an extra 45 minutes or so. As long as questions are coming in, I will answer, but I will cut the show off at like 2.5 hours. I'm not going over that. But also, Sunday night, for the first time, on Doubleheader Sunday here on the EVP show at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, I will be live for the LFG Season 3 Episode 1 recap show. That is this Sunday. Shout out to John Haney 6743 watching from Jane Ains bed. Cool. But yeah, Sunday night, tune in at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for the LFG Season 3 Episode 1 recap show. And then next week, Monday, I'm live at 11 p.m. Eastern time. You'll see Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu again. Probably will be made official for Backlash. 11 p.m. Eastern time. Tune in live for the Raw recap show. And then I'm back Tuesday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, which I don't know what's left of NXT. It's pretty much been gutted. But it will be the NXT recap show this coming Tuesday, live at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then Wednesday, I'm off. And then Thursday, tune in. I missed the last 2 weeks. But I will be back Thursday night, live at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time for your TNA recap show. And then next Friday, tune in as Ricky Saints and Blake Monroe make their SmackDown main roster debut. And Charlotte Flair goes one-on-one with JC Jane from Fatal Influence. And that will be live next Friday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then next Sunday is Doubleheader Sunday again. So tune in at 6 p.m. next Sunday for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP episode number 19. And then come back later that night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time for LFG Season 3 Episode 2 recap show. With that being said, guys, thank you once again for everybody that tuned in to the SmackDown recap show, the first SmackDown after WrestleMania. Please make sure if you do have watched the stream, please hit that like button. And if you do go back, did you say Trexlertown as on the East Coast? Trexlertown is on the East Coast. It's in Pennsylvania, matter of fact. Did I say Trexlertown as on the East Coast? I'm not on the East Coast. I mean, I am on the East Coast, but I'm not in Trexlertown. I'm in Delaware. So, yeah, appreciate everyone for tuning in once again. Shout out to Raymond, as always. Peter, see him every night. Cummins, 88 Smoking, and at John Haney 6743. That being said, guys, that is your SmackDown recap. And I will see you guys Sunday night for Doubleheader Sunday on the EVP show. You can tune in live at 6 p.m. Eastern for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP. And then come back and join me at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Sunday night for LFG Season 3 Episode 1 recap show. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy your Saturday. And I'll see you guys Sunday for Doubleheader Sunday. I am the EVP from the EVP Show and the Golden Boy of DWE. DWE is the place to be. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday, and I will see you guys back for Doubleheader Sunday, starting off at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP. Good night, everyone.